Hello, hope you're well. Today we're going to look at Exodus chapter 14. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Tell the Israelites to turn back and encamp near Pi Hiroth, between Magdal and the sea. They are to encamp by the sea, directly opposite Baal Zephon. Pharaoh will think the Israelites are wandering around the land in confusion, hemmed in by the deserts. And I will harden Pharaoh's hearts, and he will pursue them. But I will gain glory for myself through Pharaoh and all his army, and the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord." So the Israelites did this. When the king of Egypt was told that the people had fled, Pharaoh and his officials changed their minds about them and said, "What have we done? We have let the Israelites go and have lost their services." So he had his chariot made ready and took his army with them. He took 600 of the best chariots along with all the other chariots of Egypt, with officers over all of them. The Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, so that he pursued the Israelites who were marching out boldly. The Egyptians, all Pharaoh's horses and chariots, horsemen and troops, pursued the Israelites and overtook them as they encamped by the sea near Pi Hiroth and opposite Baal Zephon. As Pharaoh approached, the Israelites looked up, and there were the Egyptians marching after them. They were terrified and cried out to the Lord. They said to Moses, "Was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us here to die in the deserts? What have you done to us by bringing us out of Egypt? Didn't we say to you in Egypt, 'Leave us alone, let us serve the Egyptians'? It would have been better for us to serve the Egyptians than to die in the deserts." Moses answered the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Why are you crying out to me? Tell the Israelites to move on. Raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea to divide the water, so that the Israelites can go through the sea on dry ground. I will harden the hearts of the Egyptians, so they will go in after them. And I will gain glory through Pharaoh and all his army, through his chariots and his horsemen. The chariots will know that I am the Lord. The Egyptians will know that I am the Lord, when I gain glory through Pharaoh, his chariots and his horsemen." Then the angel of God, who had been travelling in front of Israel's army, withdrew and went behind them. The pillar of cloud also moved from in front and stood behind them, coming between the armies of Egypt and Israel. Throughout the night the cloud brought darkness to the one side and light to the other side, so neither went near the other all night long. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and all that night the Lord drove the sea back with a strong east wind, and turned it into dry land. The waters were divided, and the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground, with a wall of water on their right and on their left. The Egyptians pursued them, and all Pharaoh's horses and chariots and horsemen followed them into the sea. During the last watch of the night, the Lord looked down from the pillar of fire and cloud at the Egyptian army and threw it into confusion. He made the wheels of their chariots come off, so that they had difficulty driving. The Egyptians said, "Let's get away from the Israelites. The Lord is fighting for them against Egypt." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the sea, so that the waters may flow back over the Egyptians and their chariots and horsemen." Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and at daybreak the sea went back to its place. The Egyptians were fleeing towards it, and the Lord swept them into the sea. The water flowed back and covered the chariots and horsemen, the entire army of Pharaoh that had followed the Israelites into the sea. Not one of them survived. But the Israelites went through the sea on dry ground, with a wall of water on their right and on their left. That day the Lord saved Israel from the hands of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians lying dead on the shore. When the Israelites saw the great power of the Lord that the Lord had displayed against the Egyptians, the people feared the Lord and put their trust in him and in Moses, his servants. Well, that's the end of our reading for today. It's another great reading on the journey of the Exodus of God's people leaving Egypt. And we see here in this particular passage that God's people go through the Red Sea. God parts the Red Sea and they go through the waters. And then God moves the waters back and the Egyptians drown and they die. But before that, when God's people see the water in front of them, they begin to complain, they begin to doubt, and they begin to moan. Have you seen that in your life? I'm sure I've seen that in my life when things don't quite work out as they should. I blame everyone, I moan about things, and perhaps moan about God as well when our life isn't going quite so well. Well, when God shows his hand, shows his awesome power at work, we see right at the end of this chapter that it says these words: "When the Egyptians saw the great power the Lord displayed against the Egyptians, the people feared the Lord and put their trust in him." We've seen God's power at work. We've seen God's power at work in creation, but we've also seen God's power at work to send his Son, Jesus, into this world, to die on a cross and to rise again so that the sins of us all might be taken away. I don't know about you, but I know for me that when I see the power of God at work, it makes me want to believe, it makes me want to worship him, and it makes me want to do all I can to be a follower of his. That's the end of our reading, that's the end of our little chats. Hope it's been helpful, hope it's been useful, and hope you have a really good day, and I'll speak to you again tomorrow. All the best.